Wales, Northern Ireland and the southwest bear the brunt as Storm Dara roars in.
Oh my God!
Tens of thousands are still without power, and fallen trees, high winds and flooding have caused severe disruption and at least one death.
The storm isn't over, so I think it's really important people recognise that. There may be more damage to come.
Also on the programme, Syrian insurgents close in on Damascus as the regime denies President Assad and his family have fled. President-elect Donald Trump arrives in Paris, where he'll meet Prince William ahead of the reopening of Notre Dame. And...
It's close! It's close! It's it!
Hat-trick hero Gus Atkinson helps England take control in New Zealand.
This is ITV News with Romilly Weeks.
Good afternoon. Tens of thousands of homes are without power this afternoon after Storm Dara barrels across the UK. Wales, Northern Ireland and parts of the southwest have been worst hit, with uprooted trees causing havoc on the roads and the rail network. In Lancashire, a man died when a tree fell on his van, and more than 160 ferry passengers are stranded off the coast of Northern Ireland and unable to dock. The brunt of the storm has now passed, but there are still wind, rain and flood warnings across the UK. Our Wales reporter Rhys Williams has this report.
The fear was damaging, life-threatening winds along the coast, and that's exactly what came.
Oh my God!
Roofs were ripped from homes, promenades were battered and trees felled. Across Wales, the damage, it appears, was mostly to property rather than person, though sometimes, like on this quiet suburban street in Swansea, it was frighteningly close.
It could have been much worse. Could have been out looking at the storm or something. As I say, it could have come through the front window. It's a mess, and I dare say it will take weeks and months to clear up with insurance and all the rest of it, but it could have been worse. We feel relatively lucky.
The leader of the council told me 2 people have been taken to hospital after a tree fell on their car in the north of the city.
I was pleased that the red warning came out this time. Clearly the warning previously was insufficient. This time it's come out. People have heeded the warning. We were able to close a number of services and make sure that people were aware. People seem to have heeded that warning. So yeah, we feel that the warning was appropriate given the amount of damage that's been caused.
The wind battered coastal areas all over Wales. Llandudno Pier on the north coast was badly damaged. The storm brought widespread disruption. Both bridges into the south of Wales were closed.
Anybody for Cardiff? Platform 5!
Trains and ferries were cancelled across Wales and the southwest of England, which was also hit.
I got on the train at 8:10 this morning, and I'm still waiting to get back to Cardiff.
All of today's football matches in Wales were cancelled yesterday, but this morning the disruption spread to England, with the Merseyside derby at Everton the highest profile postponement. The red alert was for wind, but there is also a serious amber warning for heavy rain, and there's particular concern in the South Wales valleys, which was flooded badly just a fortnight ago during Storm Bert.
The storm isn't over, so I think it's really important people recognise that. There may be more damage to come.
The red alert may be over, but strong winds continue to batter the coast of Northern Ireland and Western Britain. That didn't stop one hardy surfer on this sheltered Gower beach, but the message from the Met Office is to remain vigilant until the winds subside tomorrow morning.
And Rhys, that rare red warning may be over, but the danger really isn't, is it?
No, that's right. The highest speed recorded last night was 93 miles per hour, but just in the last hour or two off the West Wales coast, a speed of 83 miles per hour was recorded. So the Met Office is still urging people to take great care when outside. And when you stand next to huge trees like this one, the likes of which have been falling all over the country, you can see why there's such great concern. And of course, as you said earlier, a man tragically did die due to a falling tree earlier today. The attention now, though, certainly in Wales, is turning towards rainfall. Already, there are some reports of flooding in mid-Wales around Builth Wells, and communities in the South Wales Valley so badly hit by Storm Bert are hoping against hope tonight that history doesn't repeat itself in the cruelest of ways just a fortnight later.
Absolutely. Rhys in Swansea, thank you. Syrian rebels are claiming they have reached the suburbs of Damascus as part of a rapidly moving offensive that began only a week ago. Syrian state media has denied that President Bashar al-Assad has fled the country, but reports that some of his Russian and Iranian allies' forces have left appear to be more credible. This afternoon, the Syrian president is under pressure on multiple fronts, with localised civilian uprisings against his regime also increasing. Amy Lewis reports.
It is as strategic as it is symbolic. Today, the rebels have reportedly captured most of the southern Deira region, the birthplace of the 2011 uprising against President Assad, which sparked the nation's civil war. They are gaining ground towards their ultimate goal of taking the capital, Damascus. It is not just the rebels rising against the regime. Ordinary people are voicing their anger. In the north, the main rebel offensive has reached the outskirts of Homs. The Syrian military is fighting back with some support from its Russian allies who want this to end.
We strongly reiterated territorial integrity, sovereignty and unity of the Syrian Arab Republic. We called for immediate end of hostile activities.
It has been just over a week since rebels launched their offensive, the biggest against the Syrian government in years. Hundreds have already lost their lives and at least 370,000 people have been displaced.
One of our team members been injured and people are really afraid. This is because the airstrike and the shelling is around the hour.
This assault poses the most serious threat to Assad's rule in a decade. So far, his forces have crumbled, along with his hold on some of the nation's most strategic cities. Amy Lewis, ITV News.
Kensington Palace has confirmed that Prince William will meet US President-elect Donald Trump in Paris this afternoon as both men attend the reopening of Notre Dame Cathedral. The Prince will also meet the current US First Lady, Jill Biden, and Charlie Frost is here. Charlie, why is Prince William having these meetings ahead of Keir Starmer?
Well, Prince William is in Paris on behalf of the King rather than Sir Keir Starmer because it's heads of state that have been invited tonight to tonight's reopening of the cathedral rather than heads of government. The Prince is expected to discuss the special relationship between the UK and the United States in both these meetings with Jill Biden and Donald Trump that are expected to get underway in the next hour. This trip to Paris is Trump's first moment on the world stage since his re-election last month. And at a time of political turmoil in France, his visit could give President Macron the opportunity to play the role of mediator between Europe and the next US president, especially with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also in Paris. Macron would be keen to be seen to broker a meeting between him and Trump, which it looks like is happening. In the last few minutes, Zelensky was seen arriving at the place where Trump and Macron are. Well, tonight, though, they'll all be at the grand reopening of the Notre Dame, rebuilt following 2019's devastating fire. And as I said, it couldn't come at a better time. Earlier this week, France's Prime Minister resigned following a vote of no confidence. So Macron will be hoping to use tonight's ceremony to revive his presidency.
Right. Charlie, thank you. The boss of MI5 has revealed that the security service has been forced to reduce its focus on counter-terrorism due to an increasing threat from hostile states. Our political correspondent Tom Sheldrick is at MI5 headquarters in central London. Tom, this seems like a really extraordinary thing to admit.
Yes, Romilly, the interview was done in the building behind me here for a podcast for civil servants, but a recording has been obtained by The Times. In it, the Director General Ken McCallum says that MI5 was previously largely focused on terrorism from the likes of Al-Qaeda and Islamic State, but the UK is now facing much more aggression from nation states, including sabotage arson and assassination plots, and so the approach has changed within finite resources.
Some of those uncomfortable choices in recent years have been, how could we pare back a bit on the amount of our capacity we are spending on countering terrorism in order to be ready to meet these somewhat grander and more sophisticated, in some respects, threats from nation states.
He specifically mentions Russia, Iran and China, though he has differentiated between them, noting that China is also a key trade partner. The most high-profile recent attack by another state on British soil was the Salisbury poisonings in 2018, which the UK authorities blame on Russia. We asked the Business and Trade Secretary, Jonathan Reynolds, earlier today whether MI5 needs more funding. He said there are ongoing conversations about the level of defence spending, but he believes we have first-class intelligence services.
Tom, thank you for that. South Korea's political chaos has deepened after MPs failed in their bid to impeach President Yoon Suk Yeol today. This morning, the president apologised for his failed attempt to impose martial law, which seemed to pacify some in his own party. But thousands of angry protesters continue to demand the president's resignation. Callum Fairhurst reports.
Tens of thousands of South Koreans have been on the streets for days calling for their president to be impeached, angry that he plunged their country into martial law late on Tuesday. The next morning, he was forced to U-turn. And earlier today, in his first public appearance since, he made a short apology.
I am very sorry and would like to sincerely apologise to the people who were shocked.
But that wasn't enough for many, including lawmakers who wanted to impeach him. Some politicians from the ruling party boycotted the motion, causing it to fail by just a handful of votes, leaving many upset.
As a citizen of the Republic of Korea, I am truly ashamed today. I strongly condemn the People Power Party for voting against the bill. History will remember this.
They are ignoring citizens and driving everyone into a pit. I hope they realise this now and change their mind.
Tuesday was the first time the country had experienced martial law for more than 4 decades, a history most don't want to revisit. While the president survived today's vote, many will continue to call for his arrest. Callum Fairhurst, ITV News.
At least 2 people have died in the Netherlands after an explosion collapsed a block of flats in The Hague. The number of dead is expected to rise, with emergency services still searching for missing residents, and the cause of the explosion is not yet known. And here, Premier League side West Ham United say their striker Michael Antonio has been involved in a car accident. There are no specifics about any injuries yet. The club says it will issue an update when it can. And in sport, England's cricketers are on course to win the second test and with it the series against New Zealand. It was a landmark day in Wellington with the rare sight of a hat-trick for England bowler Gus Atkinson and the continuing emergence of a new batting star. Here's Chris Scudder.
Oh, knocked him over.
It's rare enough to take 3 wickets in 3 balls in any game, but to do it in a test match is something Gus Atkinson will never forget. 2 in 2, and then a chance for a landmark moment.
Hat-trick ball. Oh, it's close! It's it! Oh, you can't believe it!
Only the 47th hat-trick in the history of Test cricket, stretching back 147 years. Then it was all about 21-year-old Jacob Bethell playing only his 2nd Test match. He'd never even scored a first-class 100 before, but here was the fearlessness of youth. Bethell was on course to become the youngest England century maker since 1939.
Oh, what a shame for him!
But it wasn't quite to be. His brilliant knock, though, of 96 suggests England have another great young talent. With Ben Stokes then punishing New Zealand, England's lead was over 500. Victory, and with it the series, looks assured. Chris Scudder, ITV News.
And that is all for now. Our next bulletin is at 11 o'clock tonight. Until then, enjoy your evening. Goodbye.